Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a real basic 3-column website in Dreamweaver CC. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File, New. I'm going to make sure none is selected for Bootstrap HTML. I'm going to hit Create. And I'm going to do a Save All. I'm going to just call this 3-column. Just going to save it in my edtech2 502 folder. So the first thing that I do is, and I'm going to do this really quick because I'm assuming that you already know the basics, is I'm going to create a div ID equals container. I'm going to put the closing tag for that div, and then I'm going to add a header. Navigation. I'm going to do, basically, there are 3 ways to do this, but I'm going to do section left, a section middle, and a section right. Add my footer. Clean that up, and this is what I have. I'm going to grab some dummy text. Just going to basically add the dummy text. I'm going to basically just add an H2 for each one of these, and then add the dummy text under it. So I'm going to save all, and okay, so now I have a basic page that I want to basically make this into 3 columns. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create my CSS file. I'm going to put this in my styles folder. Just going to now add a background for my section. Going to make it white. You're not going to notice this right away. I'm going to click on my body tag. Make sure it's just body. I'm going to go back to my container and add just a little bit of padding. So now I'm going to basically adjust my section. So one of the things I didn't do that I'm now going to go into is I'm going to add a class for each one. I could add an ID as well, but I'm going to set up as a class. I'm going to click on that. I'm going to hit selector, and I'm going to make sure that it's just my class. Got to make sure I have that period there. And then I'm going to hit properties. So my width, I'm going to change to a percent, and I'll go 30%. I'm going to float it to the left. You notice that when I did that, these other two come right up, but that's fine. So I'm gonna jump actually to my right one and basically repeat those same steps. Notice how it didn't work right, so I want to do it again. I clicked the wrong thing. Okay, that's selected. Click this. Scroll up. 30%. And I have this float to the right. I missed it there. Okay. So now I'm going to go to the middle. I'm going to click on it. Click on the plus sign in the selector. Plus sign. Scroll up. Once again, width 30%. And I'm going to have it float left. So overall this looks pretty good, but you notice how my footer's being all strange. This is where I click on my footer, click here, and I can always get rid of this, and then here. And you'll notice that when I come up here to my clear, it gives me some directions where it says, well, what do I want to do? Well, I want to clear both because I want to push it down. You see how that just did that perfectly? So while I'm in my footer, I can do a few other things. So if I go to text, it's one of the only times I'll actually center align things, but I'll do that. And I tend to make my font extra small. So you can see that there's definitely some tweaking that I could do here. So I could go back to my CSS, and it could be that I want to add margin left 10 pixels, and then maybe I want to add, let's try that again, margin right 10 pixels. So you start to see the way that looks. So I could take that same idea and I could copy this. Honestly, I always like to clean up my code a little, but I could take this and I could apply it to each one of these and see what that looks like. Okay, so it's still a little off, but that's where you can obviously play with your percentages a little. Notice how that's just a little too much. So let's try, see what happens if I change this to 1, 1, and 1. Okay, still a little off. So this is where I might say, okay, well, in this case, I don't want my left or my right. I'm just going to have, right? So you see something like this. So you see in this case, we have what we want on the left and the right here. So we could go back to this middle and, maybe decide that, it needs a little more, or maybe we find that we just really need it on the left. So you keep playing around till you get it just right. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to tighten up the code, and you can once again play with your percentages. So all of a sudden this gives me a nice good feel of what I really want here. I might do a few things with my header and my nav. So I could always come up here and say header, margin left, 10 pixels. Forgot my curly braces. And I could do that same thing for my nav. So just like that, let's preview what we have. So hopefully that gives you a quick idea of how you might make a quick and easy 3-column layout. We could go ahead and put a fixed width on this. You notice how it adjusts differently. You might find that you want to limit the width. So it might be that I want max width, might be a way to do it, at 1200 pixels. Save all. So that's the max width, but you can see that it adjusts. One last thing we might add is to center it, margin left, auto, and I might actually just remove those from the body tag, save all, and preview. Actually, this time I did it in Safari, but you can see that that max width controls that line length sum, but it still will adjust. So just like that, created a real basic 3-column layout for beginners in Dreamweaver CC. Thanks.